ride home in ENC.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
This is your 5 o'clock drive with Patrick Johnson.
Holy mackerel!
More news, more interviews, more ECU stories than you can shake a stick at. Hey, stop shaking that stick. This is the Patrick Johnson Show
Pirates win! Pirates win!
on 94.3 The Game.
Hey now. Hey now.
All right, from the Working Man's Beach on this Independence Day week, I'm Patrick Johnson. Let's say hello to Philip the Ref Pilkington back in a soupy, steamy network control.
Yeah, it's a little toasty.
The old air still not working.
I got 2 fans, though, going.
You got plenty of fans on you. And look at that handsome gentleman for those on the vast number on the video audience. Got a nice microphone, a background. I look, and it is the one and only Joseph A. Football. Joey Sampson. Joey Football. Joe Sampson. What did you say? Jose Football? Is that what
Jose
you were saying?
Football, to those of you in the Latin American audience.
Do not press the SAP button on your television because there's no Hispanic simulcast go today. All right. Well, hello to you all. Let me say a couple of things here. It's great to have Joe on. We're going to talk some football with Joe off the jump here and some other things because he's loaded for bear. He hasn't talked New York sports in a minute. And we've also wanted to wish the father of Philip the Ref Pilkington a belated happy birthday. It was his birthday yesterday. And Pilk got the – you know what the best part of the Pilk's dad's birthday was, don't you, Joe? Pilk left.
No.
That was his part of his birthday when Pilk got out of it. No.
I didn't get out
till
till this morning. He had to see me again this morning.
I bet he enjoyed every second of it. Your dad's a good man, so that was good. What's happening out in Charlotte way, Pilk? What's the word out there?
Nothing much. You know, it's kind of a chill summer. There's been a lot of
Okay.
soccer games going on at Bank of America Stadium. I went to one
You
of
know
those
what?
Saturday.
Oh, you did? Okay. Which
Yeah.
one did you go to?
Chelsea and Benfica.
Okay. Joe, is that a good thing? You being Jose Football, is that
I mean, yeah, it's very rare you get a Premier League team in North Carolina, never mind in Charlotte. So, I mean, that's an absolute
Okay.
bucket list item one time. But, I mean, the Premier League's done a ton of stuff trying to get through the U.S. They have a ton of tours. I think it was Chelsea played last year in Atlanta at one point. They played in MetLife. They're always trying to circle the globe, as they'd call it. AC Milan played, which is Jet Life, absolutely.
Jet Life. Yes, right. Yes. All right. By the way, Pilk, I talked to our friend Julia Hatcher today. Excuse me. She's out in Charlotte now with Playfly, and she was saying she may go to the Charlotte FC game on Saturday.
That'd be cool.
What do you
I've heard
think
it's
of
really
that?
hype. You know, Zoki always talks about how hyped they are. He's been able to make it to a few. I haven't made it to one yet. But, you know, the one nice thing, I guess, about bringing a soccer team here is not everyone had an MLS team they pulled for. Unfortunately, they brought the Panthers. Most people were already, you know, Cowboys or Redskins fans. So I think the fan base actually might be a little more loyal than the fans of the Panthers, considering I'm
do they
flying
draw
solo
for
on
that?
that one.
Yeah, what do they draw for that? Do you know?
They only
Good
draw
bit.
probably 30,000 because they don't usually open the upper deck
Only?
unless it's the first game
Right.
or if it's
Right.
Atlanta United coming in because that's their big rival. But the lower bowl is packed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good.
When
That's
Miami
been a
comes
success
into
then.
town, they open
Yeah.
it all up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's messy.
All
not
right.
even
Well,
Miami.
time to talk some ball with the great Joey Football, a.k.a. Jose Football. Joe Sampson back with us here. Joe, are you well? Are you doing okay? You look like you've shed some lbs. You doing okay? Everything good?
Yeah, trying to. Yeah, had a little something going around, but you know, as does
You
it
and me
always
both.
this time of the year. Not quite as much weight loss as the great Patrick Johnson, but we're going. We're cutting a little bit, trying to get a hot guy summer.
I got to get going on our vacation, our hiatus. I've got to get zeroed in during the hiatus. By the way, the show will go through Thursday, Pilk. Is that right?
Yeah. I ain't
And
coming
then
Friday.
we are taking a hiatus. Well, yeah, that would
you
make
can come
sense.
in, but I'm not going to be here.
Right.
There will be no producer.
I'm I'm surprised somebody's not having me work that day. Actually, somebody is. But we're going to be on hiatus through early August. I was told the 11th. It could be earlier, but I was told the 11th. And then I understand we will be back for a special show at 5 o'clock on July 10th from the Town Bank Tower featuring Minnie from ECU Athletics. I understand Coach Harrell will be among the people who will be on the program that day. Speaking of Blake Harrell, he's getting ready for his first full season, Joe, as the head coach of the Pirates. I was on 99.9 The Fan this morning to talk a little bit about Pirate football. And I want to ask you, Joe, what do you expect out of Blake Harrell as the head coach in his first full season?
I expect more of the same. I think it's the same conversations we had when we were talking about him taking off the interim tag. And it was a showing of culture. It was a showing of hard physical football in an era where everybody wants to play like the greatest show on turf and not get hit. And I think especially the talent acquisitions they've made in the portal has made that a really good kind of microcosm of what the program's going to look like going forward. And I think JDB now with his full year under his belt as an offensive coordinator and calling plays in a true fashion, the tree he's come from with Luttrell and Kiffin has been unbelievable, but it is different to kind of put your own spin on things, see how certain situations and certain things go with what you believe in your kind of football archetypes. And I think Katin Houser's ready to take a huge step. I mean, if you give this kid a full year, you're talking about national media coverage and conversations about him being one of the best quarterbacks in the country. And I firmly believe that, especially, and I'm sure we're going to allude to this, Jake Retzlaff no longer going to be at BYU really opens up a conversation for these smaller, big markets, as we'll call them, because of the iconic brand of ECU and the greats that have come before, to make a conversation to be that best kind of group of the other quarterbacks. And I know BYU now in the Big 12, but they're not really in the same conversation as some of those other heavyweights.
The great Joe Sampson joining Pilk and myself here on the PJ Show on this Monday, the 30th of June. By the way, boys, I'll go grab it here during one of the breaks maybe, but I got my Phil Steele magazine in on Friday. So
okay.
So you put that on,
it's time of the year.
On Twitter, didn't you? Or your
yeah,
Facebook
I did. I got it.
Yeah.
I got it on there, and I got my dad, the coach, one, and my buddy, the Mad Hatter of Morehead City, one. I didn't get you one, Pilk. I should have, but I didn't get you one. So, sorry, Pilk.
Oh, good. Guess I'll have to get my own.
But you can order it. It got here quick, too.
Okay.
I got it in like 2 days. It was kind of and I didn't pay it like an upgrade in shipping. The U.S. Postal Service and the U.S. government, the U.S. government actually got it right for once.
Wow.
Pilk doesn't have time for magazines, Joe, because you know where Pilk's going to, like the Caribbean. There's nothing more American than Pilk going to the Tropic of Capricorn or wherever the hell he's going here over the next the next few days. Where are you going, Philip?
To the Bahamas.
He's warming it up.
Could you at least have gone? Could you at least have gone to Puerto Rico, at least a U.S. territory?
Well, no. So here's the thing: our Independence Day is the 4th. I'm leaving on the 5th. Their Independence Day is the 10th. I'm coming back on the 12th. So I'm doing a dual Independence Day. So that's the reason that I get to celebrate ours and then theirs. It's all about freedom.
That's the most American thing possible, is making another Independence Day about ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially being a UK territory. Go drive on the other side of the road for him, Pilk. They'll appreciate that.
It's not a UK territory. It is an independent.
Not anymore. Now it's independent. But that's my point.
Right. Yeah. Bougie Pilkington. All right, back to the great Joey football. I was asked, Joe, about what Houser, who you mentioned, and here's a couple of things I think. Obviously, it comes with the offensive line, although the feel I get is that ECU feels pretty good about its prospects up front. I know you have Yannick Smith, you have Anthony Smith. To me, it's Yannick Smith's development further, and can Anthony Smith become a more complete receiver? And if that does happen, I think that aids Houser greatly. You'll have to have some other guys obviously step up, who I'm sure I'm not mentioning that you will. And the other thing I will say is this. I think it is going to be running back by committee. Who becomes the main guy at some point that's going to shoulder the load or will be kind of your premier back or maybe third down back? So we'll see. What are your thoughts on, the surrounding cast offensively for Katin Houser?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think the first thing you have to talk about is Landon Montgomery. And like we said, back by committee, and I think Marlon Gunn's poised to have a huge impact. But Landon Montgomery started to catch his footing at the back half of last year and really started to kind of integrate himself into the offense in some of those certain situations. And his ability to block on the perimeter has been absolutely paramount for what they want to do on the inside. So if you can run a two-back system like that, take some of the burden off of the O-line and protections like that, go with a little Y hide or a little shallow underneath and pick yourself up 7 or 8 yards in some of those critical second and shorts, you're going to put yourself in a really good spot as far as getting Hauser comfortable so he can take that big shot down the field. The other thing that stands out to me is Javante Connor. I got to talk about the tight ends. I have to talk about the tight ends. The transfer from Ole Miss, especially with a familiarity in both Coach Mackey and with Coach JDB. I mean, what more could you ask for? It's like they went and pulled the perfect guy they needed to make the things go. And I think last year, Kelly did a phenomenal job also in that system of understanding things. But the development of what they needed for Riles and all those younger guys is going to be so huge for them. And I can't highlight a big Y or H matchup any more than I need to, especially in this league that is all about matchups when it comes to undersized linebackers and finding those physical specimen who can just kind of get the ball where they need to get to. You mentioned receivers. Yeah, there's a couple we can mention. There's always a conversation about things, but the Smiths are really going to be the driving force, like you said. And I mean, it's got to be Yannick Smith. It's got to be Yannick Smith.
Yeah, no, I think indeed he's the guy that makes the most sense. But I just, to me, Anthony Smith just can't be deep threat or bust. I mean, he's going to have to.
He's got to run some.
He's going to have to be. 15s. He's got to run better routes. He's got to be utilized.
Yeah.
In a more complete way for this offense to have success. And I think he will. And I think he has the ability to. And I think that will be aided by the fact that he's a deep threat.
Absolutely. But having another thoroughbred, as the great Michael Irving would call him, on the other side to open the things up is going to make that deep threat even more so. And you've got a young kid. It reminds me a lot of kind of how CJ kind of burst onto the scene when we were freshmen against Cincinnati when they were number 12 at one point. He's going to have a breakout game. He's going to have another breakout game where there's going to be a lot of eyes on him, some media attention. Could be that first game Thursday night in Carter Finley with everybody watching on ACC Network. And I just think, especially once people try to shift the coverage over to him, that's going to open up the deep ball for Anthony Smith. And if there's one thing our good friend Caden Hauser can do, it is spin the rock.
You're right, Joe. He can. The little thing I'm worried about, though, this year is, does he have the time back there? Obviously, we've graduated a handful of guys. One of the guys that we thought was going to step up into a huge starter role was Carson Jones. He was a guy who was kind of the 6th or 7th offensive lineman a year ago. It's not official, I guess, that he's out for the season, but I mean, if he's back, it's going to be, week 10, week 11, something like that. And, I still feel like they're trying to kind of piece this offensive line together. How have you seen it so far throughout the spring?
Yeah, it's exactly what you're talking about. I mean, you're just kind of going by committee here. You lost a ton of starters. Parker Moore was a 2-year starter for you. Hampton Ergel was a starter for you. Dustin Hall, another starter. You kind of had that blend of both youth and experience in the perfect way last year. And obviously some things went awry early on in the season where you didn't really necessarily have the run you needed to. And the decisions that you had to make. But I really am excited about the prospects of Bryce Weaver getting a chance. He's a big physical guy. They brought in a ton of JUCO transfers also who are going to compete for that spot. And what stands out to me is that it's not necessarily a 1 or a 2-man race. It's been a 3 or a 4-man race at a lot of positions. And I think camp is going to be extremely telling about what it's going to look like. But also, there's going to be a couple names that pop up probably in week 4, week 5 that we aren't talking about in the preseason that are going to take over, do those things that they need to do in order to become starters for a JDB team that rotates so many players. And I think the offensive line is no different.
The thing, though, just to follow up, and I mean, Philip, as he usually does, makes excellent points, but if there's ever a scheme where you can cover up the ills up front, this is the one. So that's the deal there. And it's going to be, the thing I will say is, I think everybody, even the newcomers and maybe guys that didn't get a whole lot of time that are being pieced in, have a little better understanding of kind of what to expect. We sat here a year ago and there was so much unknown. And I think there was a lot of unknown for the players. Conditioning-wise, they certainly have a better idea of what they need to have. And you got a whole new conditioning staff in there as well. So that's certainly a lot of newness with the program. Joe Sampson with us here. Let me ask you this, Joe. You mentioned the BYU thing. So now I look at those first 3 games, those non-conference games. We love to break it down in those segments. All of a sudden now, the situation at BYU with the quarterback entering the portal and that whole controversy that surrounded that it becomes very interesting to me because even though it's months away, it's still relatively a short amount of time for a new quarterback to come in and sort of get acclimated to everything. It changes what BYU's preseason camp is going to be all about in many ways, I would think. So all of a sudden, I don't know what the Vegas line has done. Pilk, I don't know if they've got one out. If they do, maybe see what it's done, if anything. Since you're only in there sweating, see if there's been any line out, if there's any movement. Because to me, that all of a sudden becomes kind of an interesting game for East Carolina, and becomes a real fulcrum point maybe to the pre-conference part of the season.
Absolutely. It becomes a game that already was going to get a lot of media attention, both nationally and statewide, just about conversations, because you'll have played Campbell and Coastal and NC State rolling into that. So that's your first kind of true test. NC State's not the team that we thought they were going to be last year by any means. And then the acquisitions and the departures they've had in the portal this past season, it's less of a kind of a prove it game and more of kind of a do it game. BYU was a conversation where it was, okay, where is ECU at compared to these other teams that made the jump? BYU was an independent, went to the Big 12, went and won the Alamo Bowl over Colorado, who obviously had the Heisman Trophy winner in Travis Hunter, even though he shouldn't have won it. And yeah, Shador. So there's a lot of talk about that game, but what stands out to me is a chance to go 3-1. Now, I don't know if it's going to be Coastal. I don't know if it's going to be State. I just think with everything riding on it, you're not going to start the season 3-0 with a chance to go 4-0. It's unfortunate to say that, but now we're the media, so we can say that. I'm sure the guys in the locker room will throw a dartboard up and put my picture on it for saying that, of course. But that, to me, is the game that sets you up. If you want to go on a run and you're going to have a tough stretch with 3 straight Thursday games, especially Army, who's one of the toughest teams in the country, never mind on short rest, never mind short rest with an option team that you haven't seen in your own stadium before. Those are going to be the kind of things. So what really stands out to me, and like you pointed out, BYU doesn't have a chance to kind of test other quarterbacks like they could in the spring because they knew the departure was coming or anything like that. They're going to have to run a true quarterback competition in a season where they were not anticipating anything more than Big 12 championship aspirations. So I like the Pirates a lot now in this game because I just think situationally you cannot do those types of things with a brand new quarterback that you could have with a guy who is so familiar with the scheme.
Again, what that whole situation kind of stemmed from some unseemly allegations, sexual assault allegations
that have now been
revealed that have now been dismissed, and it's been revealed that it was a consensual situation, and but he violated. This is a team rule. He violated. He violated a covet of the Mormon Church. He didn't. It's not like he got popped for drugs or anything along those lines. So this does make, but I mean, who knows what the quarterback situations across the fruited plain are like? But where does he wind up, Joe? Where will a kid like that wind up playing? You think? Because I mean, he was a very 2,500 yards, almost two dozen touchdowns on the year. I mean, this kid could sling it and led a BYU team to 11 wins last year.
It's a great question. And I think the first place I think of is our old rival, Luke Fickell. I think Wisconsin makes a ton of sense for him in that system with the ability they have up there and kind of an experience they have in getting the ball out in front of them with the run game so he can sit back and do those things he needs to in the pocket. I really like him as a fit for Wisconsin. I think also another one that's kind of going to be under the radar is Alabama. I think he fits the Ryan Grubb offensive coordinator scheme so well compared to what Penix did when they were at Washington together. And now that Grubb is no longer the OC for anybody except the Crimson Tide, it really opens things up for that conversation for him and DeBoer to build that program in their own image. Maryland makes a ton of sense as well. Loxley is a phenomenal coach when it comes to kind of that simulated air raid where you can kind of put the ball in so many different spots. And I think he had a lot of conversations before the end of last year about if he was going to hit the portal, and now unfortunate how the circumstances have played out, but it's not like he was an unexpected free agent, so to speak.
All right, Pilk, what you got?
So looking at it now, I'm not sure if I'm guessing this has moved, but they are currently at 7.5 for an under win total for BYU. They also have the 7th best odds to be the Big 12 championship winner at plus 1,400. This is even behind schools such as Kansas and TCU. So I'm guessing prior to this news, they were not down there below Kansas and TCU. They were probably up there with the favorites.
They were probably ahead. It may have probably been something more like 8.5.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably at least a win or two. I
Easily.
would think. All right, Joey Football. Pilk, do you have any other thing you want to ask Joey Football pertaining ECU?
No.
Okay. Pilk always ready to roll. All right,
I got
so
some
here's what we're
baseball
going to do.
questions for Joey Football. Is what
Well,
I've
no.
go.
We're going to hit a break. Joe, are you good?
I'm good.
You have a minute?
I got.
We're going to hit a break. And when we come back, by popular demand, New York Sports Takes for the one and only Joe Sampson. Joey Football. I got 2 New York questions. Well, one's kind of a New York question. All right, we'll be right back with more Joe Sampson right after this.
The team of Flatlands Jessup is working overtime to help ensure that Eastern North Carolinians like you get the health insurance help you need this open enrollment period. New legislation passed meaning more people than ever qualify for affordable coverage. Let us help you today.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers in Greenville, plus the all-new Tiebreakers in Winterville. Do real burgers better than anybody. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, real burgers at its best.
Everybody loves burgers.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
Tired of the 1-800 numbers advertising Medicare products? Flatlands Jessup has 6 offices all throughout Eastern North Carolina. Get face-to-face help from our local award-winning licensed team. Stop by today. Flatlands Jessup, your whole world covered.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Oh, hey. Welcome back.
Oh, look who's back reporting for duty.
You got here just in time.
Holy nuts, man.
This is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Joe Sampson joining us here on this Monday, and we're talking football with Joe. But now we turn our attention to one of the great topics, and that's Joe Sampson just railing and ranting about sports. I got to start with an obvious one for you. Your quarterback last year, QB1, says this is it. I'm wrapping it up. This is likely the last season. Now, keep in mind, he was not going to make it about himself. But here we are, Aaron Rodgers has yet again made it about Aaron Rodgers. And he's done it now to two historic franchises, Green Bay and Pittsburgh, not the garbage franchise you root for. He's done it to them, but they're not a historic
They have
franchise.
a Super Bowl, but, you know, that's fine if you want to call us a garbage franchise. That's okay. There are
also
other
have 4
garbage
playoff
franchises
wins
to
in your
describe.
lifetime.
Yeah, and
I'm
that's more
winding
than the
him up,
Dolphins
Bill.
have had in the last 15 years, so.
You haven't. It's been 15 years since you've won a playoff game.
But we've won
Now,
a
wait a
playoff game in
second.
15 years.
You're getting. What about your boy Aaron Rodgers, though? It's not about him.
He's not my boy anymore. That's Nicky the Bull now. It's the great Steelers Don Air. You know, I think it's just telling. He said, I don't want to make this about myself in the offseason on a nationally televised show revealing his future about a retirement tour that he doesn't want to be about himself. Kind of reminds me, I'm going to be honest, P-Man, of when Prince Harry and the Duchess Meghan Markle went on their tour of privacy in South Park. It's kind of, you know, little similarities there. But what really stands out to me is the move they made today is they're doing it again. We're pushing everything into one basket because we think we have the team to do it. Here's the difference between where the Jets were and where the Steelers were. And I understand the Steelers at least made the playoffs prior to that. The Steelers are about to have their actual franchise player walk out on them because they can't get a deal done. You traded for multiple players that seemingly are past their prime, including a locker room problem in Jalen Ramsey, who has been cited on multiple occasions now with his 5th team, that he is not the person that people think he should be in the locker room and kind of a lead by example kind of guy, which is why they ostracized Joe Hayden when they sent him out of there as well. So I just think it's really confusing what portion they're at. And unfortunately, for the great Mike Tomlin, just go ahead and start putting your resume out on LinkedIn because you will not be the head coach of the Steelers next year after this train wreck.
What? You think so?
Oh,
they don't fire coaches there.
That's the problem. It is.
I agree it's going to be a train
It's the illusion of free choice. 9-8, 10-7, losing the first round of the playoffs. It's your quarterback, Mason Rudolph. It's your quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. And you're going to go through this whole thing we call Groundhog's Day once again. Pick at the 15th pick, take an offensive lineman you shouldn't take, not take an offensive player that you need skill-wise, and then we're going to do this again and waste another year of TJ Watt's prime career.
Listen, I agree with you. It's going to be a train wreck. I don't think this trade makes this all of a sudden better. But I am with Patrick on this, that this is upper management's fault and that this franchise has had 3 coaches since like 1968 or something, and they are not going to fire Mike Tomlin.
When did they fire Bill Cowher?
He retired. They never fired him.
So Tomlin could go the same route. He could be done. This has been a train wreck anyway.
You think this is the thing that pushes 50. Him over the edge?
He's been. You can see it on his face on the sidelines, Pilk. He is not about this current generation.
True. He is not. He is a blue-collar guy. He ain't know about this flashy.
No. Flashy stuff. All right. I want to go somewhere else. I don't like when things get hard. That is not the Steeler way.
No, it's not.
Over the weekend, it was reported that Dawn Staley has been contacted by the Knicks to be its next head coach. First of all, so I've kind of, you know, as things start to slow down and you read stuff about the Tibbs thing, I guess it's Leon Rose is the GM, right? I guess he decided this is as far as we could go with this group of players with this head coach. This wasn't so much ownership meddling as much as ownership has put their total faith in the GM. First of all, was that the right decision? And second of all, what do you think of Dawn Staley as the next coach of your New York Knickerbockers?
Well, the first thing I have to say is the Tibbs writing was on the wall. I thought he wasn't going to be the head coach after the All-Star break. I was not anticipating this kind of run. So anybody who has watched New York basketball in the last 4 years knows that this was the exception, not the rule. And when it came to beating the Celtics, that was truly just because Joe Mazzulla refused to actually learn what he was supposed to do down the stretch in making adjustments and not just playing hero ball with his friend Cheddar Bob, also known as Peyton Pritchard. The second thing I have to say is, look, Condoleezza Rice interviewed to be the head coach for the Browns at some point. So, I mean, you got to turn over every stone. Dawn Staley's a phenomenal coach. I think the game is a little different just as far as what her X's and O's is. She has a great relationship being a Temple alum with Rick Brunson and the Brunson family because of that. So there is a connection there with the whole Villanova core and that Philadelphia kind of hard-nosed style of play. I just think, especially with how things have kind of progressed in the NIL era, that you're basically kind of trading one monster for another monster, where it's not about basketball, it's about egos, it's about managing those things. And I think she's just so into just the portion of basketball she wants to and running South Carolina the old school way. I don't think there's actually any wheels to it.
Okay. It was announced this morning. It was reported yesterday, but kind of got run this morning that LeBron James has opted in for.
That's the guy.
Yes. Oh, I love that even better. LePeking James. He has opted in for another year, but he essentially is open to a trade. Is he going back to Cleveland, boys? Is he headed back to Cleveland? A lot would have to happen to pull that trade off. But is that because he wants to play for a contender? There is, I mean, where does he go? That makes a lot of sense to me if you're talking teams that could contend. Cleveland would be one of them.
Yeah, I agree, but I think if he goes back to Cleveland, it's a farewell tour kind of thing, and I don't think they're in farewell tour.
I think this is it.
But that's the thing, man. They're contenders, like you said. Are they ready for a farewell tour? Or better off having Brent Burns go play for the Sharks, who are the bottom of the Pacific, right? Let him have his farewell tour there. I mean, look, could it happen? Yes, PJ, but I don't think they want to give up what it's going to take to give up to get this guy who is, going to play 1, maybe 2 years for you, and it's all going to be about him. It's about the tour. It's not going to be about winning an NBA title, and I think that would be a historically dumb move by the Cleveland Cavaliers.
They've made historically dumb moves in the past. All right, Pilk. Joey Football's got his Yankees cap on. I don't think you have a Yankees question for him.
Not.
But you have baseball questions.
This will get a
Joey
better
Football,
rant.
what let me ask you this. How
I
do
know
you
where
feel
he's going. I know where he's going already. I already know where he's going.
Well, should we do Hold My Beer? Should we do a Hold My Beer? Is that what we should do?
I don't know his answer.
No. I think I know where he's going.
No problem.
All right, there's a team that's on a really
wait a
good...
minute. That's quite a hat. That's a very unique Yankee. I actually like that Yankees hat. What is the series of that? What is that?
I'm trying to think of what the series name was. It's a 1927 World Series. It's on this side. 1927 World Series patch. So it was just kind of the retro. I love the old retro logo when they did the Field of Dreams game.
Yeah, that's a good-looking hat.
Yeah, I have like every single possible variation they've done with the old school retro. I wish they'd bring it back because it feels classic. It feels like it's the old school, like warm vibes of 1927 and Shoeless Joe Jackson gambling and paying people off for the Black Sox of baseball. But
I don't
know. I
let
wasn't
him go,
there.
Pilk. He's so good.
I wasn't there.
He wasn't there.
You were there.
But how are you happy with how your Yankees have played this year, Joey Football?
It's a loaded question. That is a loaded answer.
Yeah.
At times, yeah, absolutely. I think they've been really good in certain situations, and then we go on streaks where we go 36 innings without scoring a run and go on a 9-game losing streak, get swept by the Angels, find a way to lose to the A's, and then have to claw our ways back and, play hero ball with Jazz Chisholm, who probably just broke his amate bone. So that's its own thing. Looked like the Benintendi injury from 2 years ago, but I'm not spiraling or anything. Aaron Judge is the best player in baseball and is stuck with just a mediocre cast around him. Bellinger's been great. As far as what you expected, Paul Goldschmidt fell off the cliff. I thought he'd fall off 3 years ago. And Marcus Stroman still can't pitch past the 5th inning.
Well, Joey,
all right,
it's great.
Go ahead, Pilk.
I'm glad that you brought up Paul Goldschmidt because even though you weren't there in the 20s, you were there yesterday. You were live yesterday when the Cardinals completed their sweep and became 48-37. Are you finally willing to admit that Alec Burleson and the Cardinals are not a poverty team that you have so many times claimed on these airways? This team is in a very tough National League Central and is playing legit baseball. By the way, he's leading the team in batting average of anyone minimum 200 plate appearances.
And he should be an all-star.
Yes, he should. Are you willing to admit the Cardinals, even though I know, Patrick, this is your show, you hate the Cardinals, and I'm not trying to prep them up, but he puts them on he puts them in a basement or he puts them in hell, and they don't belong there. They're a solid baseball team, and Joey Football in the past has refused to admit it. Are you ready to eat your words, Joey Football?
No, not in the slightest. I will eat my words that Burleson is not a property player. He should be an all-star. I stand by this anytime you're batting at a 300 clip. One, you should be in the conversation when you're facing the likes of Paul Skeens and Justin Steele and that stacked NL Central, when you've got Chase Burns throwing 105 miles an hour over in Cincinnati and then Hunter Green on the first day. You should be in the conversation. So that's what I'm going to get fired up about, is the fact that we get so caught up in the media moguls and everybody when it comes to the All-Stars and the Shohei Ohtanis of the world and the Cal Raleighs of the world with his big dumper and the big homers he hits, as they claim. We forget about pure baseball. We forget about the people who go out there and do actual baseball and play it the right way, and that's Alec Burleson. He doesn't swing for the fences. He's not trying to hit everything at a 180 clip and then go hit 45 bombs so he can get his next paycheck in arbitration. He's playing baseball the right way, the pure way, and that's what I need people to realize. He's not Juan Soto shuffling when he's batting at like a 227 clip, or Francisco Lindor who forgets how to take a strike when it comes down the middle. I'm talking about real baseball and the authentic portion of it. Now, I will claw it back. I apologize. The NL Central, I didn't think it was going to be this close, because I'd like to also point out to Philip, who wants to go on his little victory parade, that the Cincinnati Reds with Terry Francona are actually still 2 games out, the same as your good beloved Cardinals right now when it comes to Patrick's Cubs. So we'll see where things shake out as it's June.
Hey, that's William Grover's beloved Cardinals, and I'm just trying to have you admit they're decent. I don't care if they're good, really. I don't. I just want
they're decent for sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
but he won't admit it.
No,
because
we'll see where they wind up.
He is blinded by. It's not even hatred. I don't even know what it is. It's blinded by this weird fairy tale that he put in his mind before the beginning of the 2024 season, when he ranted on these radio waves for like 10 minutes about how dog water they were going to be.
Time out. It went longer.
He will not get off this high horse.
It went further back.
Okay.
I just wasn't on there.
You know what I think this is?
I've been like this since 2021.
I think this is a little, if there's an equivalent in the NL to the Yankees as far as success, it's the Cardinals. As far as winning world championships, it's the Cardinals.
That's
I think
fair.
they have
18 of them,
the most of it. Yeah. Whereas I think brand-wise, it's certainly the Dodgers. But you know, if you're talking success, it's the so I think that's what this is. I think Joe, it's a little Yankee snobbery. Is what I think it is.
So he won't swallow.
That's what I maybe think this is rooted in. A little Yankee, like we're the superior. We're the superior franchise. I think that
because I'm the first person to tell you that the Yankees have not been the Yankees in the past 10 years. I stand up there and I say that at all times.
All the
they
ebbs
just
and flows,
stumble their
I'm
way
talking all time. I'm talking the totality.
The postseason.
Totality of the.
But I'm not going off the totality, Patrick. I'm going off the fact that they traded for Nolan Arenado. They traded for Paul Goldschmidt. They pushed all their chips in for a magic egg and beans like it was a fairy tale. Signed Sonny Gray. Let Lance Lynn go rot out there. Refused to acknowledge that they had nobody. Wouldn't call up Nolan Gorman. And did all these things to refuse to win an NL Central that was wide open when the Cubs decided to sell. The Pirates suck.
Right.
And the Brewers stumble their way into the playoffs every year. And all you have to do is be 2 games better than the Brewers in the new system to make the playoffs. That's where I get fired up, because if you're going to be the prestigious brand of baseball like you so claim, why don't you act like it? Why don't you try and actually win games instead of trading for people who just do what they need to do to get paid and then fall apart? Because that's what happens in baseball. If you don't build a team and you just try and buy a championship every year, which might I remind you the Dodgers have been trying to do for 15 years and it has yet to work besides last year,
well, wait a minute. It worked last year.
Besides last year.
All right.
That is the first time in 15 years.
I think Joey Football he's got a setup there now. I think Joey Football needs to send a tape to the fan in New York. And like when you get to the summer months or you get to the holiday periods like this, Joe could be like a substitute host on the weekends or overnight. And that's not to say your ability.
Me and Sal could go toe-to-toe. Me and Sal could go toe-to-toe.
It's just
Absolutely.
that you know, starting out from the jump to Greenville to New York would be quite a vast jump. So you would probably start out on the weekends or the overnights, and I think you'd be great, sensational on that, Joe. You'd be wonderful on that.
We'll get clicks.
I think you would. I think you'd be sensational.
That's all it's about.
All right,
about the clicks.
Joe, any big Independence Day weekend plans? I know you love America. So any big plans?
As our forefathers intended, I'm going to forget about my day job. I'm going to go bask in the sun and appreciate the beauty of this country while I hold a drink that comes primarily from Mexico and celebrate American independence.
Is that going to start
God
with a
bless the U.S. of A.
with that the drink? Is that a is it something that's made of hops, or is this something that's more of a clear liquid?
No. This is a clear liquid made of agave that starts with a T and ends with an A.
Oh, there you go.
Arriba.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, Joe. Good to talk to you, buddy. You're the best. You
Always a
are
pleasure,
entertaining
boys.
and insightful, and I just love talking to you, man. Thank you. Have a great 4th, my friend.
Thank you, guys.
All right, there he goes. Joseph Football. All right, Pilk, let's get an update from you, and then you and I will come back and wrap this puppy up.
Sounds good. Thank you, P-Man. And we will start in college athletics. Little news for Pirate Baseball. They have announced that Thomas Francisco, former Pirate Baseball player, is the new director of operations. And a couple new news out of former Pirate players. Both Carson Wisenhunt and Trey Savage have been announced to the minor league all-star game. Staying in college athletics, Jake Retzloff, the quarterback from BYU, does intend to enter the transfer portal. He was found innocent in his lawsuit that was originally against him, however, was suspended 7 games for violating certain team and university rules for BYU. Going over now to the NFL, but sticking to football, there was a big trade earlier today. The Steelers received cornerback Jalen Ramsey, tight end Jonnu Smith, and a 2027 7th-round pick from the Miami Dolphins, who got safety Mika Fitzpatrick and a 2027 5th-round pick. Today was the hottest opening day in the history of the championships at Wimbledon, 91 degrees Fahrenheit, just south of London. There was a few upsets, starting with the men, Nicholas Jarry over Holger Rune in 5 sets, Arthur Ferret over Alexei Popyrin in 4 sets, and most notable, world's number 9 and a former U.S. Open champion, Daniil Medvedev, fell to Benjamin Bonzi in 4 sets. It was a little more tame on the women's side. 12-seed Diana Snyder fell to Japan's Mauka Ukajima in straight sets, and Sine Cartel defeated Jelena Ostapenko in 3. That'll do it for your 94.3 The Game Sports Flash Update and Pirate Report. We're going to take a time out here on the Patrick Johnson Show and be back to talk about how the WNBA likes to shoot themselves in the foot on the other side.
Hey, it's Jim Wells again with Wells Roofing and Gutters here in the beautiful community of Lindale, Bedford. At Wells Roofing and Gutters, we believe in quality first. And that's why we use CertainTeed shingles, which are manufactured in Oxford, North Carolina, a local company. In the event you ever do have a claim or a problem with your roof system, they're local and they come and take care of us in a timely manner. We could leave off some accessories and we could certainly save money, but we believe at Wells Roofing and Gutters in installing the correct way per manufacturer requirements, and we warranty your roof both in-house and also with our supplier, who is CertainTeed. For a job Wells done, no shortcuts taken, and a good quality job on your home, give us a call today, 252-227-8403. We also offer financing, 12 months, no interest, no payments.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
And now, the stunning conclusion.
Why is everyone screaming?
On 94.3 The Game.
Okay, thanks a lot to Joe Sampson for being with us. So much fun. Great to have Joe on. He's the best. Always entertaining, always fun. Love Joe. Great guy, too, on top of it. Pilk, I don't think we'll have time to at least develop the topic today. So there was also some other stuff I was going to find to send you as far as cuts go. But I'll just say this about the WNBA. They do a lot of things to shoot themselves in the foot. Guess who got a record amount of votes for their All-Star game again?
I'm going to guess Caitlin Clark.
Do you know how many?
Tell me what she got last year. Do you know what she got last year?
I don't know what it was last year. I know this year it was 1.2 million.
Okay. I was going to guess just north.
A lot of votes.
Yeah.
It's a lot of votes.
It is.
Yet they try to decapitate her. Yet they shove Angel Reese, who has a decent game against a garbage team, try to shove her down our throats as if she's a great player.
Second coming.
Second coming. Yeah, I wanted to avoid that cliche, but yeah, I mean, that's essentially what they're doing. No, you're right. They do. She's no Akeem.
Well, that's what they shove her down your face like.
That's what they shove her down your throat. We're going to have shows through the end of the week. We're working through some of the guests and how all that's going to spill out, but we're going to have some silly season fun also. And a lot of reaction to people getting just pea britches about the Tar Heels and their perceived lack of success over a period of time. And when they compare it to Duke, because look, what does a Carolina fan love to do? Compare themselves to Duke basketball. That is like the most. It's the craziest thing ever. It's the worldwide brand versus the in-state, the state flagship institution. So, by the way, they left Raleigh. The lawmakers did, Pilk. So we did not get anything resolved as far as, a lot of things obviously, but nothing resolved as far as anything with the sports gambling rev. What's going to happen with that? There was another big one, too, that kind of had a sports overlay to it that never went anywhere. In fact, it got shoved back down to the Rules Committee. Anyway, point is that none of that got done. Those lawmakers have hit the road. I guess they'll be back sometime after the 4th or later this summer. But for now, nothing really changes.
They said happy 4th. We gone. Whole week.
I am a little surprised they didn't take it into today, but I think a lot of that is they are so far apart on the budget.
I mean, if you're that far apart, why stay the extra day? Because then you got to
why stay into this week?
Yeah.
So I mean, why stay into this week to try to get anything done? Unlike Washington D.C., where they are dealing with the big beautiful bill and
they met
your boy
Saturday.
Tom Tillis. Your boy Tom Tillis.
Yeah.
Not going to seek re-election.
Yeah, it's probably
He's not.
a good thing.
That opens. We had a couple of another thing I wanted to mention here, but we had Tillis on when he was running last time. That's how long it's been since we had him on, and he did talk Panthers with us, so I'll give him that. Dave Parker, and if you go back, I can't remember if it was 2 or 3 years ago, we had Dave Parker on the show. He had a book. Dave Parker, one time NL MVP, died over the weekend. He was an awesome guest. I don't know if it's on our archives or not. I'm sure you can find it somewhere, but we had Dave Parker, and he was a heck of a guy. Really amazing.
I'll go back and try and find
have
it.
Dave Parker on. Yeah, maybe if you can, we can repost it. I think that'd be great. Repost the interview or something, because he was just great. He was just absolutely fantastic, and he He died over the Cobra. He died over the weekend. Sad to have heard that, but he was awesome. It was great when we had him on. I kind of remember him. I don't remember him so much with Pittsburgh as much as I remember him with the A's.
Okay.
He was kind of part of that A's dynasty, Canseco, the Bash brothers, Canseco, and McGuire.
Obviously, I didn't
Stewart.
remember seeing him play, but you know that you're bringing this up, I do think I remember having him on now. Like, I do think this was once we went to video, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it was. So I think
That
we
we
could
had him on, that we could
go back and
repost
find
it.
it, and it'd be great to
Yeah.
repost it one way or the other. I would love to do that because he was a great guest. He really was great to have on that day. Pilk, anything else that? You mentioned a couple of the Pirates playing in the Futures game, the what they call the minor league All-Star game now. Oddly enough, a couple of pitchers, and congratulations to Thomas Francisco getting elevated to the Diop position at ECU. So Cliff Godwin making some hires, still dealing with some things with the portal. I've talked to somebody
yet.
over the weekend. No, that's the issue. It's not closed yet, and then you still got to kind of deal. A lot of reaction to our interview with John Gilbert, and a lot of reaction. We actually had a pretty good audience, from what I understand, tuning in on Friday to the radio show.
Yeah, I think this time of year, I almost wonder if we have a better Friday audience than we do like during the season. Because I
think we might.
I think people are like on their way to the beach or whatever on Friday afternoons this time of year. They're more likely to tune in, especially now that we have the app. Whereas like Friday during the season, it's kind of like, yeah, you got
People
the
are running
kids.
around. If they have us
Yeah.
tuned in, they're not. There's not
Yeah.
time spent listening lengthy. It's hit and
Yeah.
run here or there.
Yeah.
No, I get that, but we got a lot of reaction. So you could always go back and listen to the Mike Swartz interview on the IBX Media app, the John Gilbert, and they would be worth listening to. I think you'd get a lot out of both of those. I think a lot of people were interested to hear what he had to say about the roster, Coach Swartz. I mean, so let's see. Anything else, Pilk?
We hit on the trade with Joe. Hey, one thing I was going to bring, just totally off topic, but man, it was. I don't know if you've watched any tennis this morning. Hot day in Wimbledon. My update, I said it was hottest.
Saw that.
Yeah. Look, I'm not trying to bag on people, but let's be honest. And I've noticed it when the soccer players are playing here and they have to have their hydration breaks. Those Europeans can't take that heat, can they? They're not built like us.
They're not built like the Eastern North Carolinians, that's for
No,
sure.
they are not, man. I was when I was at that soccer game this weekend, there were some of the fans of the Portuguese team, and they were doing like the cheers and stuff. It was kind of cool. And after about 20 minutes, man, these guys all like sat down, took their shirts off, and were just like, "Oh, this is hot." And I'm like, yeah, they can't hang, man. Can't hang with us.
They don't. Used to in America, we take our shirts off during a sporting event. You don't see that a ton anymore.
No, you don't. The painted chest thing is not as much of a thing anymore. Now you pretty much see it at NASCAR races. That's about it.
Oh, there you go. There you go. All right. Great to have Joe Sampson with us. Back in the morning on Talk of the Town with the Big Hen on 103.7. And then back here on the PJ Show tomorrow. For Pilk, I'm PJ. Have a great rest of your day.